Alright, I'm not quite off my kick of 3D fighters just yet, so let's take a look at another. Last month I spotlighted the charismatic, yet flawed, Lightning Legends on the PS1. But this go around, let's hop over to Sega's 32-bit powerhouse for a sharpened, but equally captivating outing in the 3D world, Touryuu Densetsu Elan Doree. If you ever thought to yourself, man, would Panzer Dragoon make for a cool fighting game, then I have the game for you. For what essentially equates to how to train your dragon for one-on-one combat, Touryuu Densetsu is wickedly fun, as one might presume with such a premise. The airborne bouts are well handled with attacks that sport more range than they seem to make up for the obvious blunders that could occur with these flightful fights. Each dragon rider, all of which share different backgrounds, like swordsmen, magicians, element users, and so on, all have their fair share of calamitous moves. Some are conjured up by the rider, while others are invoked by their dragons. Whichever it may be, their specials and supers are sure to pack a punch, like the Fire Dragon's Massive Bomb or the Thunder Dragon's Electric Orbs. Pulling off moves was not an issue, as typical quarter circle inputs track well, making for a standard, easy-to-grasp fighting system. Not to mention, controls are smooth, as is movement, with the exception of the jump that is a little floaty and at times kinda clunky. With battles staying off the ground, Touryuu explores some neat mechanics, like the ability to dodge into the background by pressing up. This can get you out of harm's way, or it can be used to sideswipe your foe. In addition, you do have a traditional guard by holding back, but rely on it too much and you'll be penalized. The same goes for specials. You can't just continually guard or unleash on your rival, as your dragon power, or as the game comically refers to it, your D power, will run low, resulting in one of a few handicaps, such as the inability to guard, or in some cases, attack. It's an interesting choice to say the least, but it does add some strategy and consideration into your play. But fear not, as bouts are brisk and your power is restored every round. With the dodge mechanic mapped to the up button, that does mean this game commits the sin of having a dedicated jump button, which takes some time to get used to, but I quickly adapted in an effort to work classic Street Fighter techniques into my combos. But be careful, as unmounting your dragon for a sweet aerial kick does leave you prone to being knocked to the ground, which will deal extra damage and gives your opponent the chance to rain fireballs down on you. However, the playing field is leveled, as you can do the same to them. Besides the fighting, I've got to say the dragon designs are fantastical yet badass. The Wind Dragon and Poison Dragon especially. I also got a kick out of the Magical Girl's giant flying Kuribo. That thing's mad cute. The stages found throughout take you around the world of Touryuu, as you'll go toe-to-toe above a castle moat, in the crystal caverns of a large mountain passageway, and high above the clouds near the floating islands. And while these mystical battlegrounds are neat, they look kind of compressed and dull at times, while others are cluttered graphical messes. That's not to say they don't fit the game, they do, but they leave a little to be desired. The same can be said of the music, which is not up to snuff with the fine CD quality tunes we've come to expect of the era. A lot of songs have a tinny palette, more in line with a 16-bit game, and compositions seem rather simple and generic. While I can't sit here and pretend Touryuu Densetsu Elan Doree is a perfect game, it is at least an interesting one, with the risks it takes and for the most part successfully lands. And in doing so, it outclasses other generic fighters of the time on premise alone. While something like Lightning Legends might stick to tradition and offer up a prettier palette in both graphics and sound, the quirks of Elan Doree's dragon-based squabbles, tighter controls, and overall badass designs make it the more memorable fighter in my opinion. And with a reasonable price tag of, oh for God's sakes, can't we get like one cheap Saturn game? Come on! Alright, with its hefty asking price, it's hard to really recommend this to my physical-only collectors, especially when compared to the $20 or so price tag of Lightning Legends, but my emulation-friendly fans, extreme Saturn enthusiasts, and curious fighting game players, if you're looking for an underrated 3D fighter of the era, my vote goes to Touryuu.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this episode, consider checking out these other videos right here, or even subscribing. Also, if you'd like to throw me a couple of bucks, you can support the show on Patreon.